Hello, my name is Veronica McCulloch, and this is my Module 1 video brief. We're going to start with civil rights. How did the civil rights movement in 1965 impact the development of multicultural and culturally inclusive education in the United States? Well, what this did is advocated for more teachers and administrators to reflect the diversity of the student body. It allowed for more people of different backgrounds to come in and actually reflect and be role models to those who were from different backgrounds. Also, it reformed the curriculum to include other cultures because it wasn't really culturally diverse, the curriculum that they were teaching at the time. It also allowed women to be administrators. Mostly women were the teachers and the men were the administrators. Also, it created the LRE for students with disabilities. LRE is the least restrictive environment for students with disabilities, and it paved the way for change in the school systems. Next, we're going to go to our research literature. So, how has multicultural education been defined in research literature, and what are the challenges to implementing racially inclusive practices and policies in schooling spaces that devalue students and communities of color? Essentially, it's a wide variety of programs and practices is related to the educational equity. It's related to women, ethnic groups, language minorities, low income groups, and people with disabilities. Me being a special ed teacher, what's very important to me, obviously, is the people with disabilities, making sure um, that they are taken care of and not discriminated against. Also, so sometimes the multicultural education is seen as a way to promote like self-esteem or a curriculum that substitutes one set of heroes, that should be in quotations, like heroes, for another. When that happens, we end up with young people who feel good about themselves and their heritage, but who have few skills to prepare them for life. Um, who know to do math or science and read, but they don't really know much about their culture and their background, and are ashamed and embarrassed by that. Students sometimes will act one way at home and one way at school to fit in. I taught in Texas for 8 years, and it was very culturally diverse where I taught. And I could see at home the culture that was practiced at home. I had a lot of Hispanic students. They would speak Spanish at home, but refused to speak Spanish at school because it made them different. All right, let's talk about the multicultural education. So, how do I define multicultural education, and what ways is it shaped my conscious and or subconscious biases that I hold about culturally diverse groups? Multicultural education is a way of teaching and learning that values and includes different cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives, and it aims to ensure that all students, regardless of their background, feel respected, represented, and able to learn in a diverse and inclusive environment. Um, for me, as a teacher, um, I deliver specially designed instruction to fit the needs of my students. So I do adapt my teaching methods, my materials, I accommodate unique abilities and backgrounds, and making sure everyone feels included and supported in my classroom. I also work very hard to make sure that they have opportunities with students who are in the general education population so that they can build those relationships. So, I mean, if I was having a maybe first year teacher me who hadn't had my bubble popped just yet, I would say that I might think some students can't do as well academically, and this can affect how I teach and support them. It's only a possible scenario. But I will tell you that there's been several students that I've had, or other teachers will tell me, "Oh no, that student can't do that." Well, just because that student is nonverbal doesn't mean they don't know what you're saying. They do know what you are saying. They just may not be able to respond. Anyway, so that's kind of how it shaped my conscious or subconscious. My bias, I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily have a bias, but it's good for me to think about. Do I have one? Could I possibly have one? Learning in the 21st century. So, why is cultural diversity, equity, and multiculturalism vital to teaching and learning in the 21st century? Cultural diversity and equity are crucial in the 21st century to prepare students for a diverse world, foster inclusivity, and enhance learning and social justice. Um, Currently, I am teaching a history class, and we just talked about the Civil War, and we talked about our rights and our freedoms as American citizens. And I was very surprised to see that they didn't know what I was talking about. And I had to go over that they have rights in the United States that people in other countries don't have. And so, anyway, so I tell them it's very important to know about other cultures and the lives of others, especially if we're ever going to survive and tolerate different views. I mean, it's okay if someone has a different view than ourselves. And that I think that's very important that they respect the views of others. They don't have to agree, but respecting is very important.